Gentlemen, welcome to the Week 8 Power Rankings. I appreciate those of you who are watching this right now. And boys, we're halfway. We're halfway home, and things could not be more tight as we sit. Let's go ahead and recap the week that we just had, because boy was there a lot that ended up happening. So let me just pull up the scores right now. Did we just go live? Okay, there we go. Welcome in, and let's go ahead and get to week 7 scores. The Bond County Coonhounds had like 100 players playing on Monday night, and they were able to surpass the Hitmen. But there were a multitude of injuries that the Coonhounds ended up suffering, and we'll get into that later. The Shadow Troop not able to amass 80 points, losing handily to the Dallas Dragons. The Bear Boobs coming up just shy of the Beecher Creatures, 128 to 120. The Clark County Crusaders only scoring 87 points to the Tennessee Colonels, 138. And the Cali Pigs not able to put up much of a fight to the St. Louis Looters. So if the season were to end today, we would have the Dallas Dragons and the Beecher Creatures with the byes, and the Bond County Coonhounds, Tennessee Colonels, Looters, and Huntsville Hitmen making up the rest of the playoff field. This is extremely tight, especially when you look at the fact that Bear Boobs is right there at 3-4. The Crusaders, you can't count them out either. At 3-4, if they make a late season push, I mean, there's going to be a couple of weeks that really make or break some teams. So we could see a multitude of changes. There's only a handful of teams that are 5-2, and then obviously Dragon that's 6-1. It's going to be very, very, very interesting. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into the power rankings. Now at number 10, I have to ask myself, who is going to get a win first? And if I'm being real, I don't know if either of them are going to get a win. I don't know if any of them want to win in order to get the better draft pick or the better odds in the lottery. So Looters are going to most likely lose again to the Tennessee Colonels. If there was an all-out dud by the Crusaders, maybe, because the Crusaders only scored like 80 something this week. That's doable. But week 9, this is the week we all got to look for. It's who can throw this the hardest. And I think Ryan wants it more in terms of wants to lose more. So I think I'm going to give the 10 spot to the Cali Pigs. They've made some moves in order to better their position as they get to next season. DeAndre Hopkins now has a ton of value. A ton of value, much more value than he had before this week. But this team is going to be set up well going into next year. At number 9, that immediately puts the Shadow Troop at number 9. A guy who also has 2 first-round draft picks, 2 second-round draft picks. They've got all of the draft picks in the world. And in case you were curious, Joe Milton is still here. And yeah, I mean, this team it's not good. So it hasn't been good. I just, we can't say much more about it. Okay. So let's go ahead and move on to number 8. This is very tough because I have two teams here that are very close to one another. And if it, I think that the Clark County Crusaders are still at 8. I think that this team is better than what an 8 spot gives, but man, the 7-6-5 spot is so tight that I couldn't in good faith put them up there, but could easily make a push here in the last 7 weeks. So do not count the Crusaders out. It's just where they currently are. And then at number 7, we have the Tennessee Colonels. We've had a few duds by the Colonels of recent. And Andrew Torbeck is here. Welcome in, sir. We're currently at number 7 with the Tennessee Colonels. Now, they scored 138 points last week, but the week before they scored 97. The week before that, they scored 117. The week before that, they scored 154 points. But this team it's inconsistent. I don't necessarily trust the team week in and week out. Maybe he finds his footing because the team is not bad on paper. I just the Dolphins situation killed this team. With the value that you're wanting to get out of Hill. Brian Thomas Jr. has been absolutely incredible. This team needs the Dolphins to be good. I think that is really what's holding this team back from really being a Super Bowl contending team. So let's move to number 6. Now, I don't want to say that this is me trying to be humble, but I have my concerns. The Coonhounds are at 6. Mike Evans is down until week 11, maybe week 12. Chris Godwin is out for the year. This team has taken a massive blow in terms of injuries, consistent injuries throughout the year, and it has just riddled. I mean, had depth to begin with, sure, but the injury bug continues to just eat away at this team. Didn't have Jordan Love for the first after week 1, didn't have Jordan Love for the first 3 weeks. Luckily, Baker Mayfield was incredible, so it didn't matter as much. Luckily, we made the move for Jamar Chase, so we can put together a starting lineup. Yeah, the concerns for this team are so real, and what they can do going forward. It's a lineup. I'm not sure what to do. We're 5-2, and I don't know. We're in a good spot to make the playoffs, but what good is making the playoffs and doing nothing with it? Do you just need a seat at the table? I'm not sure. So that's kind of where the Coonhounds are at 6. At number 5, we have Bear Boobs. Sam's team, very consistent. A tough matchup week to week. Sam's team is very, very good. And Gus must have to take a massive shit. One moment, please. Sam is going to be a tough matchup week to week. Oh, Torbeck says, Murph looking himself in the mirror and holding himself to a higher standard is why he is #my commissioner. Yeah. No, it's more just me being really, I'm in my sad boy hours with the state of my team, and I'm not sure what the hell to do right now. because I'm 5-2, but I currently have the team of like a 2-5 team. So yeah. Sam is extremely consistent. He puts up a fight week in and week out. I don't think that his record reflects how good his team actually is. Yeah, Gus is he's really got to take a shit. So I'm gonna try and expedite this process. So Sam is at number 5. I think Sam is one of the most slept on teams here. At number 4, we have the Hitmen. The Hitmen, another very consistent team. They had a few duds back to back, but the Hitmen are so good on paper. I think they're going to hit their stride, and they're going to continue to climb their way up the boards. I think they are much better than the Tennessee Colonels, even though they have not scored as many points. Okay, Gus. Come here. Oh. We've got some power rankings brought to you by. Oh, you can't even see him. All right, he's just going to sit in my lap now for the remainder of the power rankings. Okay. The Huntsville Hitmen are going to be at number 4. I think they are absolutely a playoff team. I think that they are going to continue to put together some wins. I think they are much better than the Tennessee Colonels. I think they are in a much better spot than the Bond County Coonhounds. And I think that with the week that they have coming up, this is a big statement week for the Hitmen. If they can get a win here, I think that it is going to be a much smoother sailing for them. They do have the Looters the week after. They just are not getting a lot of schedule luck. Hopefully the Crusaders are not trying to put up as much of a fight whenever they play them after that. Then he gets the Shadow Troop, but then he has to play Dragon. The schedule does not look good for the Hitmen. And it's unfortunate because I think the team is capable, but the schedule is so beefy for the Hitmen coming up. At number 3, we have the Looters. The Looters are one of our 5-2 teams. This is Mr. Consistent here. Nobody likes the Looters, but the Looters continue to have success. Hi, Gus. Are you upset with Torbeck being at number 2? Or at number 3, I'm sorry. Okay, so Gus is on board with Torbeck being at 3. And here's why. Gus knows consistency, and the Looters are consistent. Torbeck continues to win. Listen, this is, if it is a science, Torbeck has it fucking figured out with just a team that doesn't look great on paper, but works. I will continue to admit that the Looters are good because I also don't want to get to the playoffs and lose to a team that I don't want to lose to a team that I've continued to deny, because this team is actually decent and consistent. It doesn't have to be great. It just has to win football games. And that's the magic sauce. Maybe we're all looking at it wrong. We don't need to be good. We just need to win. And I think that's what Torbeck has figured out. Okay. At number 2, we have the Beecher Creatures. This team is also very consistent. This team also wins. Torbeck says, bingo, Murph gets it. Yeah, I mean, it's not, I mean, your team just, it just has success pretty consistently. I would also argue that you have one of the lowest points against, which has also helped you. But when you look at your team's output, it is it's very consistent. So beat your creatures, and I think Rex is actually going to hate this. The creatures and the looters are very similar teams. They get production in a couple of different areas, but just the way that their teams are built and the way that their teams perform, they kind of always have guys to sort of fall back on. And then they have their guys waiting in the wings. One of them's going to boom. And then that's how they end up winning and getting to that 120, 125 spot. And that's where their success is found. And then you have Dragon, who it doesn't matter who you come up against, unless your name is Dylan, you're gonna fucking lose. So that's who we have at number 1. And so let's look forward to week 8. The Bond County Coonhounds are going to put their crutches on and walk into Dallas and hopefully put up some sort of a fight. But the matchup of the week has to be the Hitmen and the Creatures. The reason for that is because I think this is going to matter much more down the line, mainly for Michael. Tennessee Colonels should take care of the troop. Bear Boobs and Looters, man, I think Bear Boobs could give the Looters a run for their money here, just because these are two very consistent teams. These are two playoff teams, in my opinion. So if I had to make predictions today, and this is without anyone selling off, I think that the playoffs, I think that Sam takes the place of the Colonels. Looters will be in. Maybe I'll get in. I don't know. Maybe I'll have done enough and then I can just wait on Mike Evans to come back and be my savior in the playoffs. Fingers crossed. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Thank you guys for tuning in. I'm going to go let Gus take a shit. And I hope you all have a great week. And may the injury bug stay away from your team because it's not fun. Good night.